Meeting for Monday, May 20th, 2019. If you could please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. There is a sign-up sheet in the back of the room if you would like to make a comment during our school board meeting.
Yes, I forgot that we were.
Moving on to our agenda, approvals, deletions, additions. Dr. Veracco.
Thank you, Mr. Baxo. You do have some revisions at your workstation, a couple adjustments to the minutes under Roman numeral 5A. We added the Watson Elementary Word Masters Challenge under 7A1. And those are and there's some personnel recommendation additions under 7B1.
Move to approve.
We have a motion from Ms. Suze.
Second.
We have a second from Mr. Marshall.
I'm sorry, could you clarify the change on 5A? Is that the red at Fred?
I think it was your coaching
I
question.
think it was that it was a freshman that,
Oh,
that part.
We clarified that it was ninth grade girls coach that the assistant moved to, not any other
I
head
see.
coaching position.
Okay, based on that question that I had
Just-
sent.
Right. We
Okay.
clarified that.
Yeah. All right, thank you.
All right, we have a motion and we have a second. Let's take a vote on this. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Is there any correspondence, Ms. Suze?
No, there was none.
Thank you. Our liaison committee updates, I shall move those to the end of the meeting, knowing that we have so many recognitions this evening. Moving on to our official school board business topics, our consent agenda. Dr. Veracco.
Thank you again, Mr. Baxo. Seek board approval for the minutes from both the executive and regular meetings on May 6th, as well as approval for the claims, payroll, and extracurricular expenditures you received in your packets.
Move to approve.
We have a motion from Mr. Marshall.
Second.
We have a second from Dr. Malkow. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
No comments.
There are no comments regarding action items, so we're going to move on to our official school board business topics for this evening, our regular agenda. Dr. Veracco.
And we are excited. We have a lot of recognition this night, board, beginning with Watson Elementary Word Masters Challenge, Bibbich Word Masters Challenge, LCHS International Thespian, LCHS Art, LCHS Academic Superbowl, and we'll close with LCHS Global Virtual Classroom. We'll reconvene down front, and I'd like to invite Michelle Lavin forward to talk about Watson Wordmaster Challenge.
Good evening. My name is Michelle Lavin. I'm the principal at Watson Elementary. I have Mrs. Rita Evanson with me here tonight, and we are recognizing our third graders from her classroom. They participated in a Word Masters Challenge, and were ranked in the second meet, third in the nation. So,
Mrs. Logan and Mrs. Prairie. Bibbich.
Members of the board, I would like to thank you for allowing us to be here this evening. We would also like to recognize our third graders who were led by their teacher, Mrs. Julie Crary. And just to add on a little bit to what Mrs. Lavin said, the Word Masters Challenge is a challenge that the students participate in 3 times a year, fall, winter, and spring. So they have 3 chances to do their best on this test. It is a very difficult test, and both Watson and Bibbich performed in the most difficult gold division. So even of the different tests, they did the most difficult. So the results for Bibbich, in the first meet, they scored 3rd place nationally, and in the second and third meets of the year, they placed 5th place nationally, and overall, when they combined all the scores from all 3 meets, Bibbich came in 2nd place overall in the nation. So we would also like to recognize the students.
Okay, next we have the International Thespian Society, Mr. Gustus.
Okay, yeah. All right. Good evening, board. Thank you for allowing me to be here. The International Thespian Society is part of the theater troupe here at the high school. We competed downstate in the end of January, and they did very well. Out of 900 students that competed, we had 2 students get superior. We had an outstanding senior, and the most exciting thing is our troupe got gold status, which is the highest status that you can get. It's the first time Lake Central has ever earned that honor. They got over 90 out of 100 points in a criteria-based kind of thing they had to do. So I'm very proud of them, and I want to recognize the kids that competed. First one, she's not here tonight, but Lila Weinreich competed in musical theater. She actually was she was awarded Best of Show. She had the highest score all state, and she also competed in our senior scholarships down there, and she won over $20,000 in scholarships. To get a superior down at state, they have to compete, and out of the 900 some students that compete, these are the highest of the high score. Only 7 students got superior in the solo acting, and one of them was Jack Lopez. We're allowed to nominate one senior to be the distinguished senior, and it was with great honor that my daughter, Stephanie Gustus, was nominated and won distinguished senior. And last but not least, to get the gold troupe, we had to make a portfolio. They had to go through everything that we did the previous year. And 2 of our seniors really stepped up to the plate and put it all together. And they have the plaque that we brought so you can see what it looks like. And those 2 that put that plaque together, the portfolio together for us to get honor troupe was Stephanie Gustus and Erica Habas. Thank you very much. We are quite proud of these kids, and hopefully they perform well next year.
Also like to take a brief moment to recognize any other parents, friends, or relatives who came with these thespian students this evening. Please stand to be recognized. Now I'd like to invite up Mrs. Yeager and Mrs. Gray to talk about Lake Central High School art.
Hello, I'm Maureen Yeager. This is Rachel Gray, and we're 2 of the 4 art teachers at Lake Central. Tonight we are having our AP Senior Art Show. Over the last 2 years, we've got a group of students who have been trying to earn college credit. They finished it up just last week, so we are having a big art show down near the library. If you get a moment, want to stop by, you can see what they did. Tonight we're going to acknowledge, however, all our students who have given us some great effort this year and participated in a lot of different art events. One of the things that we have done this year is we had students participate in a mental health awareness program put on by the Mental Health of America Indiana branch and the state of Indiana. And every year for the last 3 years, our students have dealt with or considered the idea how mental health is very important and we need to start taking care of it. We need to be aware of how important it is and what we need to do to help our children grow up as strong adults. This year, we are fortunate that we had 3 winners, the 3 top winners, in fact. First place for $1,000, second place for $500, and third place for $250, which was awesome. I was surprised because 3 years ago, we did the same thing. So I was a little questioning whether there was a mistake. How could that be possible 2 years in a row? They told me that this year, the students that were chosen were first pre-selected by the group of adults in charge of the mental health program, and then they put it out to students who participate in the programs that they offer, and those students picked our 3 winners. So we have some tremendous winners for that. We'll just keep going and talk to you a little bit about all that we've done, and then we'll call our winners. Another thing that we did this year was we entered something called the Memory Project. There are a group of people who have made it their mission to try and help third world countries, people who are not as fortunate as us, to try and help their children grow up feeling good about themselves, feeling like someone cares about them. And so this year I was asked if we could find some students who would be willing to do a portrait of a child from the Philippines. And so we had 5 students who volunteered to do that and created artwork from a photo for these children in the Philippines. They sent the artwork off and sent us a video back of these children receiving this art. It wasn't for credit, it wasn't for money, it was just to share their talents. And so we had 5 students who did that and did amazing portraits. So then we were in a couple of other art shows.
One of the other art shows that our students were fortunate to take place in was at South Suburban College. It's a great event that every year that their art department puts on, where they have an artist come speak. They do interactive demonstrations where we see bronze castings. We actually get some of our kids to actually wheel throw there. But also they did take some home awards that day too. We won Best of Show 2D and 3D. We also had the Great Clay Award and some other honorable mentions I think we've took place. The show that we just got back from was the Tri-County Junior and Senior Art Exhibit in Munster. And our school did very well. We won Best School Presentation. We've had 3 students who took home, I believe, $500 award. 2 students took 2 $500 awards and $100 award, and then we also had 5 $50 awards and numerous $25, sorry, for honorable mentions. Okay. What else is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
So now we would like to just read the names of what we have. So we have Claire D'Angelo. She was from the Memory Project. Good job, Claire. Ryan Katz. She was also from the Memory Artist. And she's a senior, so she will be sharing her work if you come see the show. Giovanna Martin, she was a Memory Project artist. And Alexis Orozco, Memory Project artist as well. Nikki Ritzik, she was also a Memory Project artist. I forgot one other little event we were involved in. I'm seeing it on here. This was also a charitable cause project. There's a program called Cherish the Children Project put on by sorry, here I'm drawing a blank. I forgot all about this one. Where they support and try and help children prevent child abuse. So every year they call and say, could you find some students who would volunteer to help us? And we did. We found a couple of girls who would help. Dana Lawrence, who was involved in painting a chair that they sold at auction for Cherish the Children. Phoebe Tafalu, she was also Cherish the Children Project, as well as her partner, Angelica Pyros. We call her Kiki, so I might have butchered her name. Thank you, girls. Good job. So for the Mental Health Matters contest, we have Dana Lawrence. She was the first place winner of $1,000. And then we have Hope McKinney, second place, $500. And Tanya Romick, third place for $250, but she told me she couldn't make it because she had to work to make some money to pay for college. Those works will also be at the State House in Indiana for the month of May, and then in June they're going to the Mental Health Conference, and we'll be traveling around in June before we get the pieces back. So that's awesome. Okay. So our next group is from the South Suburban College High School Art Exhibit. We have Mackenzie Hoffman. She got the best of the Lake Central High School entries. We have Taylor Zajeski, best in the exhibition overall. She was the best 2D artist of the show. Caitlin Yearsit, she was the best overall exhibit in the 3D at the South Suburban show. Then Honey Nilsson, she won honorable mention in the 3D category. Cordelia Weatherby, honorable mention in the overall 3D category. And Caitlin Cunningham, honorable mention in the overall 3D category. And then Angela DeMargian, she won the Great Clay Award. We were prepared, though. It doesn't really seem like we were. We forgot another show we did. At IU, every year, every 2 years, they ask us to submit an artwork from each of the art teachers. This year, we sent 2 pieces. Caitlin Yearsit, she won, she was our 3D piece, and Giovanna Martin was our 2D piece, and they went to IUN. Good job. Good job, Gio. And then these awards were from the the Tri-County Junior Senior High School Award. There was a memorial award given by a family for $500, and the winner was Cordelia Weatherby. Go this way. And then IU Northwest gave out a Fine Art Award of $500, and that went to Elaine Pia. Then there was an award in honor of an artist named Anne Louise Beckman, $100 to Caitlin Cunningham. There was another award for William Meeker Memorial Award. That also went to Taylor Zajeski, who's not here. She had to work. And then we have another winner, Giovanna Martin, First in Media Award for acrylic painting. Tao Nguyen, First in Media, she did a charcoal portrait. First in Media for watercolor was Honey Nelson. And then Sophie Bourne won an honorable mention in this show. 30 pieces in that show. They helped Lake Central come home with the best overall school presentation and a trophy, which is down by the art show, so feel free to come and look at it. And then we would just like to thank our parents who have supported these kids. Many late nights, drinking lots of coffee, staying up to finish the projects in time that they've had 2 years to work on. And we just appreciate your support because we got tremendous results this year. Thank you.
The next group we'd like to recognize is High School Academic Superbowl. I know Josh Clark and Maureen Yeager are here. Any other coaches, please come forward.
Oh, it's okay, yeah. So Academic Super Bowl is a academic competition. We compete in 6 subjects: math, English, social studies, science, fine arts, and interdisciplinary. It's been around for 35 years, and this year we won our first ever DAC championship, conference championship. And part of that is we have this traveling plaque we get to keep for a year. Until next year, we're going to have to defend this, and it's going to be displayed up in the trophy case for at least a year. So this just whoever wins gets to keep it for a year. The notifications went out just last week. I just got this on the agenda last week, so I don't know how many kids are actually here, but we'll read them out. Jade Silvera, Jacob Bailey, Kyle Kolinsky, Emily Gaines, Devin Sweeting, Tommy Pavel, Carter Goldman, Christy Tom, Josh DeYoung, Nikki Kozel, Jordan Sprague, Arena Kareem, Monty Stockton Fresso, Tina Lynn, Michael Biancardi, Ethan Panarski, Viraj Patel, Aaron Catalin, Kelly Nguyen, Samantha Gendris, Anish Padadar, Krista Matakovich, and that's all of them.
Could the parents of any of those students we recognize please stand so we can recognize your efforts? Our final group to recognize this evening is the high school global virtual classroom, and I'll introduce Mrs. Schweitzer, who's going to speak for a few minutes.
Well, to say that I'm extremely, this one, as opposed to this one. To say that I'm extremely proud of these 7 students is, there aren't enough words to tell you how much I appreciate you as parents, teachers, our school board, our superintendent, for all the support. This is a voluntary program. These are student tech interns that really man the student help desk for me. They volunteer their time. And if I'm lucky, I get them twice a week for 90 minutes, but they do so much more. And so I want to recognize that what we try to do with this group is help them build their leadership skills, to think for themselves, to show them and teach them how to collaborate with others, how to take control of their education, and how to learn when there's no limit to learning. So, without further ado, I would like to call them up and recognize them, and then they're going to actually show you what our project was this school year. So, Erin Catalan. After you shake hands, stay up here. Louis C.O. Carter Goldman could not be with us tonight. Marcus Orshu. Kenny Stone. Tyler Wojciechowski. And Tyler Zega. Okay, guys, come on over and when Tyler's done, and take it away. So this is the Global Virtual Classroom website that they're going to talk about tonight. You want me to pull up ours right away? All right.
Hello and good evening. Thank you.
This mic, not that mic.
It's hard knowing which mic to speak into. I feel like I'm at a press conference. Anyway, hello and good evening. Thank you to the Lake Central School Board. Thank you to Mr. Dr. Veracco, Ms. Schweitzer. My name is Kenny Stone, and we are the Lake Central Tech Help Desk. The Lake Central internship is sponsored by Ms. Schweitzer, the ed tech trainer at Lake Central High School. We are a 7-man team composed of seniors, but we're missing one of our members, Carter. And a lot of students know us from connecting them to the Wi-Fi, but we do more than that at Lake Central. This school year, from September through March, we've been working on a project that would affect the world. The Global Virtual Classroom is a collection-free online educational activities and resources for students, and it aims to complement the efforts of governments and educators around the world to integrate technology into their classrooms and curricula and to link their schools to the internet in educationally productive ways. This project or contest connected us with students across the world to create a website based on a certain topic. We had the honor to work with St. Mark's Senior Secondary School from New Delhi, India, to create this project, and I'm proud to say that Lake Central won the grand prize. Without further ado, we would now like to introduce you to our website, Health and Wellness. So if Marcus, if you could come up here, and we're first going to show you our videos that we had the pleasure of making.
All right. We're not playing, no. So my name is Marcus Orchu. I like to make videos, and I'm also an app developer, but videos. So for the website, I've created a few videos. Oh, they're actually on the front page. Now, these are interviews with some specialists that we have at the school. For example, we have Melissa Reddig, who I interviewed about mental health. And then we have Miss Talent. She's present here, right there. I interviewed her about healthy habits. I've interviewed Miss Olenkamp, Mr. Halterman, and Mr. Gurnak about regular exercise. And these ones I didn't do. And I won't play them, but it was really nice to interview them about the various topics that we were researching. They gave us some very good pointers, and I animated them a little bit, and I got a little bit of video experience from doing them. And if you want to watch them, go to the website. I'm not going to play them here. And then we also created, we created a music video based on one of the Indian Kids' poems, and it's performed by Kenny, co-starred by Aaron, and I'm not going to play it too, but... Do you want me to?
It's about stress.
Yeah. All right. Here goes nothing. Oh, wait, we can't play it.
We do not control this. This is not us. We don't have that jurisdiction.
So yeah, I told you, I'm not going to play it. So... Yeah. So if you do want to watch it, because just go to virtualclassroom.org, and then you can click on the secondary school team site right here. We're on the top because we won, and just go to the mental health tab. You'll see it. It'll be right here. Yeah.
Louis, you guys talk
So Louis, CEO, and Aaron Catalan are going to talk a little bit about the content of the website.
Hello. Let me introduce myself again. I'm Aaron Catalan, and this is
Louis, CEO.
And we in general, everyone had a really critical part of the website. As you can see, I was the co-star of the music video that none of you can watch, unfortunately. I also was a key part in the interviews, particularly Mrs. Olenkamp and the coaches. And Louis and I, we did lots of the research for the regular exercise page. Now, regular exercise, it was very interesting because I learned a lot about how regular exercise also helps our mental state, the mind-body connection and all that. Now, we did a lot of research, particularly scientific studies, and we also went over the forms of exercise, the benefits of exercise, and the detrimental effects of not exercising for longer periods of time. Would you like to add anything else? No, we would not like to add anything else. Thank you so much. Now we would like to introduce the Tylers up here.
So I'm Tyler Wojciechowski, and this is Tyler Zega, and we created a game called Flavortown 2 Electric Boogaloo. This was a learning experience. Me and Zega have never coded in JavaScript before this. Took about a week to learn the language, and another week to actually make the game. It was a really fun experience, and we learned a lot. Thanks. The objective is to eat the healthy food and stay away from the unhealthy food.
Oh, he's gone. So as you can see, this project took a lot of effort, took a lot of time, but it was worth it in the end. Not only did we get recognized across the world, but we refined our skills and we got to spend a lot of time together. And I'm happy to be part of this team. And all I can say is go LC.
Any of your parents out here?
I don't know.
Yeah, my parents are right there.
Oh, would you please stand up? Thank you for everything you do. It's going to be hard to replace these 7 young men. Carter had to work tonight. On top of winning the gold prize, a competition brought in $1,000 to be split by the 2 schools. So on behalf of the tech team standing before you, Lake Central Student Help Center will receive $500 to advance our program. So thank you, parents, school board, and Dr. Morales.
Okay, that concludes our recognition for this evening. We will take a brief moment to reassemble on stage. Everybody who has stuff to get to at home, this is a good time to depart. Thank you for coming out this evening.
Thank you, sir. Take one down, pass it around, please. Or take one, you know, am I right? Yep. I wish you were getting me something else to take down. Yes. Good job, John. A lot of folks out there to take their pictures.
Take one of those and pass it down. Of course, that's gross. Right?
One of these, pass it out?
Yeah. That's my presentation.
Grab one and pass it down.
Get one for Sandy.
Yeah.
I had an idea. We could have somebody, one of the students, be in charge of taking a picture. The Education Foundation has that. We could post it. Because they were these students when they were marked. We could post it out there.
There's no reason why we can't have our media kids do that for us.
Yeah, wouldn't that be cool?
Sure.
Dude, you have to do it at school. There's some kids that are missing, so. No, that's probably Larry. I think this is
Oh,
fair enough.
I like it.
Is this mine or Sandy's?
Okay.
Okay, Sandy's stuff. Right?
Yes, yes, I see it now.
Is this yours or Sandy's?
Oh, this is mine right here.
Okay.
I think Sandy's is right here.
you're gonna chop that back in?
Yeah. We're going to resume our school board meeting.
Okay, for my second item this evening, I wanted to give the board an update on, my agenda says ISMA update, but what I prepared is a McKinney-Vento update. So either Jeannie or I got crossed up on this, but nonetheless, in 2018, House Enroll Act 1314 requires an annual report on homeless and foster youth to be submitted to the State Board of Ed. And so besides data regarding discipline, passing rates on tests, graduation rates, et cetera, the report requires a remediation plan for both homeless and foster youth. And this is the part that, of course, we're interested in focusing on. That report will be due to the State Board of Ed at the end of August. So recently, the homeless liaisons, of which I am one, were asked to complete a survey to benefit the IDOE as they prepare the initial report. Coincidentally, the survey came out about at the same time that we had our initial local coalition that was formed to try to share ideas and do a better job of meeting the needs of both foster and homeless youth. I would share with the board the key survey question, at least what I felt was key, was what are the 3 topics that need to be included in the IDOE remediation plan, and I included for you my responses. One, that they mandate annual training for all registrars and building secretaries to make the enrollment process more inviting, and one that will eliminate paper barriers. Paper barriers are when sometimes school personnel who don't understand the law will delay enrollment of a student because they don't have their transcripts or birth certificate or other documents proving that they reside in our district or in someone else's district. My second item was to encourage or require locals to coordinate regular meetings, and I put this in there because we've only had one meeting. Our second one is tomorrow, but I think our local coalition is going to make some really big strides in this area. And then finally, I put create a slogan or campaign to encourage families to enroll children immediately upon relocation. One of the research studies that I had read earlier in the school year indicated that it is the time lost between schools that is a significant component in setting students back. And so that was my other idea for them. So we meet again tomorrow. I've included for your review on your own time the notes from our first meeting. I do think it's important because we talked a lot about making sure that each meeting has relevant topics on it so that the group doesn't disband or fall apart over time. Even our local superintendent's group, we find that if we don't have highly relevant issues, attendance suffers, and then the benefits of groupthink sort of go away. And so that's my update for this evening on that topic, and if there are any questions, I'd be glad to try to answer them.
I just want to compliment you, Dr. Rock, on taking on this project as well as all your other activities that you have, but definitely want to compliment you on that.
And I'll present at a future meeting the data, and we are impacted, of course, at Lake Central, but not to the degree of some of the folks in Lake County. But it's all interesting information, and whatever we can do to help each other in this world of public ed, we want to do so. I also noticed that on our agenda we don't have Lake County Public Library, but I see somebody here who is wanting to present to the board, I believe. Are you from the library? No? She looks like somebody. Okay.
I do have a question.
Sure.
With the coalitions, are those throughout the state, or is that just in this area, or do you know?
Well, I don't know if there are any others in the state, but we had a meeting back in February with who was then the statewide coordinator, and from that meeting, a few of us were standing around afterwards and felt that if we met more regularly, we may be able to figure out ways. Of course, we all have different things that we want to focus on. One of my thrusts, obviously, is making sure that it's one thing when folks at the central office understand the things that we need to be doing to get children enrolled in school as quickly as possible, but sometimes we don't realize how big the turnover is at our individual school buildings, and they are the front line of who people encounter, and so we need to make sure that that training is ongoing, that there's always something available to share, both written documents and then face-to-face meetings. And so that was one of the things that I thought we could benefit from as a Lake Central district. And then, of course, other people have other things too. One of the interesting topics tomorrow is, what are some of the things that can trigger you to know that somebody may be doubling up or not living in their own homestead when they don't declare it? Because in many communities, people, for pride and other reasons, don't declare it, and yet they may be entitled to some things, such as free and reduced textbooks, based on their living arrangements.
So are all the area superintendents a part of this when it says Lake County Homeless and Foster Youth Collaboration? Who else is on that panel?
We had 13 school districts involved at our first meeting, and we reached out to some of the others who are actively involved with our superintendent's group to let them know we felt it was worthwhile. We also had DCS, Anita was there, and we had a couple of other agencies, but I'd have to pull out the attendance roster to tell you who those folks were. I did not pay as close attention to that.
No, that's okay. I just wondered if it was just strictly schools or if you have other professionals involved, and you do. And I commend you on this, and I commend all of you that are working on this, because having had the experience of working with a homeless family, and they lived with me, it's very embarrassing, and it's very awkward to know what to do. And thankfully, I had the background in it, so I could guide her. But if you don't, it's a tough road. And so all the support we can give them is very much appreciated, I know.
Yeah, it's really important that they find somebody who can give them stability,
Right.
first and foremost, but then also that the schools
Yeah.
look at it differently than sometimes people do.
Yes.
Um,
Agree.
A lot of folks in our society want to lay blame, and it's not always, well, it's never in the best interest of students, and it's not always fair to the adults either.
Very good.
Any other questions for Dr. Bracco?
I love it. I love it.
All right.
It's great.
Thank you, Dr. Bracco. Thank you for that update. Moving on to our Director of Human Resources, Terry Mucha.
Thank you very much. We are recommending the following appointments, resignations, and transfers be approved.
All right. You got a motion?
Move to approve.
I hear a motion over here from Ms. Sue.
We're still celebrating all that fun
All that,
stuff.
yeah.
And
I know.
please note that it does include a lot of the summer school names, too, that will be teaching
Where is
summer.
the elementary summer school again?
The elementary summer school is at
Piper?
C. Piper.
Piper, thank you.
All right, you made a motion. I will second that motion. Any other comments or questions regarding the personnel recommendations?
And where's the middle school?
It's going to be at Kaler this year.
At Kaler.
Taylor? Yeah. All right, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
I guess I did have a question. Can you tell us a little bit about the food service director that we've hired?
Well, we were very fortunate to have a great group to interview with lots of experience, and so we had 2 sets of interviews actually, because we got down to 2 people. Deanne comes to us from Crown Point, where she was a director, associate director there. She has a degree in business administration from Marquette, and she has been working for a number of years, but in food service itself for 5 years. She is certified in CertiSafe, and she's also a trainer. She wanted to be here tonight, but she's actually at a cafeteria manager workshop, so
Oh, okay.
continuing her education.
All right, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
My second item is a certified staffing request. I am asking to hire certified staff between May 20th and August 12th so that we can plan for and secure certified staff at the start of the next school year. This will give us an opportunity to hire some qualified teachers before somebody else gets them away from us.
Exactly.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion from Mr. Marshall.
Second?
We have a second from Dr. Malkow. Any comments or questions regarding those certified staffing requests?
Very important.
Yeah, very. All right, let's take a vote on it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you very much. I also have 2 requests for personnel for leave requests, one from Christian, who did go to the school service, and one for me to go to the superintendent summit in June.
So moved.
We have a motion from Dr. Malkow,
Second?
second from Ms. Suze. Any comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
And thank you. I also wanted to go over the collective bargaining agreement and our timeline for negotiations. It's changed a little bit over the years. Our first formal negotiation will be September 15th. They changed that to match the ADM day. But over the summer, we'll be doing informal negotiations, and we hope to get a lot of that wrapped up in the summer so that when formal negotiations come, we'll be able to ratify that with board approval, and that remains on November 15th of 19.
So when you do the informal meetings,
We have our first one set for June 3rd.
June 3rd, is that just administration and their leadership?
And their leadership, yes.
Their leadership, okay.
Mhm. Prior to the commencement of formal bargaining, the district must hold a public hearing to allow public testimony to discuss items being bargained, such as salary, 401k, loyalty payment for teachers frozen in 11 and 12. ERB may give us some additional guidance on this, but it's best if we do the hearing as part of our regular board meeting on September 3rd of 19.
So this is new.
Well, I think all the additional hearings are.
Yeah.
Yeah, the teaching, the way it's going to go for teachers is going to be sort of similar to a superintendent contract.
Yeah.
Where you're going to have to open it up for comments based on the topics, which typically are, you know, pay and insurance and maybe sick days or something. So you'll declare what those items are, and then I'm not sure how the public's supposed to comment without knowing what you're talking about, what numbers. So the key will be that 72 hours before the board ratifies, that we again have to post to our website what the offer is, and then people can show up to comment on that. The question is, do we want to do a separate meeting? I would prefer just to do it at regularly scheduled board meetings because it fits neater into just putting it on the agenda.
And that second meeting would be September 16th for that second hearing. And the tentative agreement has to be on our website 72 hours prior to that second hearing. So after we roll out the temporary, then we're going to likely wait 2 weeks to vote on that tentative agreement. It's always been a public document, but now it's going to be made public prior to board approval, which is different for that too. So action would be taken at the first meeting in October. Community members would have the opportunity to comment on that agreement at the board meeting when action is taken on the superintendent's recommendation. So there's some changes on there for us, some stricter guidelines, I think.
Do we have those dates? I mean, do we have those?
I have them here. I'd be happy to.
Can you email us?
I can.
You can? Okay. That'd be great. Thanks.
So I'm a little bit confused. So it's, right now we have to have a superintendent hearing, so now we're going to need to have a teacher hearing. But what about the administrators in between you and the teachers? Do we have to have a hearing for them too, for their salaries?
No.
And paraprofessional support staff, do we have to have one for them also?
No.
Okay.
All right. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to our Director of Primary Education, Teresa Shaw.
Thank you. My first item is to seek your approval of the professional leave request that was included in your packet.
Move to approve.
We have a
Second.
motion from Mr. Marshall. We have a second from Dr. Malkow. Any comments or questions regarding those leave requests? Okay, hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. My second item, you may recall earlier this year, I shared with the board some information on a pilot French club held for fourth graders at Proximate. And tonight I've invited Mrs. Baldwin, who was the sponsor of that club, and 4 of her students here to share with us just how the program went this year. So if you guys would come up and if you'll introduce everyone.
Yeah.
Bonsoir. Madame Baldwin. Good evening. I'm Mrs. Baldwin. I teach French at the high school, French 3 honors and French 4 honors. And I've always wanted to take my seniors to teach French at the elementary level because I think it's very important to start learning a language and a culture when you are very young because you absorb everything. These guys are little sponges and they're perfect, you know, to learn the language. So I talk with my students and I think they're pretty excited too to join me for that pilot. And I chose Proximate because I used to work at Proximate before I was at Lake Central. So it was important to me, and I knew some of the I know these students, and these are mine now. So maybe you guys want to. Also, why I wanted to do this because it is also part of the curriculum for the French 4 honors. We talked about the education or the immersion programs in the United States as well and in France. So I think doing the unit on the immersion programs and then taking them on the field so they could experience what it was. I thought that was a very neat experience for them and these guys also. So I'll introduce Isabelle and Tommy from my French 4 honors, and Kiki and Addie, who are students at Proximate in 4th grade. And you guys can talk first, and then we'll have them speak French to you.
Hi, I'm Isabel Spanberg. I've been a part of Lake Central's French program for 4 years now. This year with Madame Baldwin coming in, we were kind of like the test guinea pigs for our class in the future French 4 projects. Honestly, I loved it. It was really cool to be able to go and see what it's like, whether we were learning about the language or just like education, stuff like that. The kids really observed it really well, like she said. They loved it. They came in running. We wanted them to walk in the library. They came in excited to learn, and they were just really great with it, and it was just really exciting for us to see it because it helped us learn, whether they realized it or not. They taught us just as much as we taught them.
That's great.
Very cool.
Hi, I'm Tommy Pavel. I also went with the Protzman teaching these little munchkins about French and everything. And like she said, like Mrs. Baldwin said, these little guys, they just eat everything up that we try and teach them, that we have taught them. I remember my lesson that I did with my group, we did family terms, and honestly, we thought that was going to be one of the harder lessons, but they ate it up just as much as anything else, as what I'm pretty sure whatever everyone else taught. And really, just this whole year in French has been another like a journey for me, because over the summer I was actually in France for 6 weeks with IU through the honors program, or the foreign language immersion program, and I learned a lot there, and I felt like I was really able to teach them a lot with like my experiences that I had in France, and just the French culture in general, and I just had a lot of fun teaching these guys. Very good learners. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah.
That was a nice little conversation they had there.
It was. No, I just want to, thank you, Teresa. She was, and Sarah also. They were a great help to help me, start the pilot. And I hope that next year we can do it. And I'm so happy with, both sides. These guys have done a great job. I was very pleased because at first, some of them were like, "Oh, we don't want to go and teach little kids," no. And they all came out and told me, "Oh, Madame Baldwin, we love it. It's just been such a great experience." And I know that it's a great experience for these guys too. And we want to raise global, children and adults. So I think starting that early is great. So
Great.
thank you again for.
Thank you.
And we want to thank you for coming up with the idea. This was totally her plan. She came to Sarah and I, presented it. We did a little bit of logistics, but other than that, the planning was all Mrs. Baldwin. So
Nice.
thank you for coming up with the idea.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice.
My last item is just to share some information on textbook adoption. Through our language arts committees this year, we decided that we would not adopt a new Basel reading series. Instead, we would continue to use our Journeys anthology with our language arts units. With the exception of the Journeys phonics, we felt that it was not as strong as it could be, and so we went on the search for a strong phonics and word study program and came up with Words Their Way. So that is what we will be using K through 4 next year. Just to give you some information on how we made that decision, we had 25 teachers pilot the program, and we also provided 3 opportunities that teachers could come and hear a presentation on the program. 2 of them were here at Lake Central, and 1 was off-site. Through the language arts committees, we shared the feedback of the pilot teachers and shared information, and that's how we came to our decision. One of the strengths of the program that we feel, probably the greatest strength, is its ability to help teachers differentiate instruction in the classroom.
So this is phonics, you say?
phonics and word study. So phonics in the lower grades, and then word study, Greek roots, affixes, suffixes in the upper third and fourth grade.
So the Greek derivatives and the
Right.
Latin and all that.
Derivational,
How
right.
cool. How cool. It would be nice to continue with that through the grades. Awesome.
Any other questions for Teresa?
No,
All right, thank you, Teresa.
thanks.
Thank you.
Moving on to our Director of Secondary Education, Sarah Castaneda.
Thank you. This evening, I only have one item. I am seeking your approval for the professional leave request as presented.
Move to approve.
We have a motion from Ms. Seuss.
Second?
We have a second from Mr. Marshall. Any comments or questions regarding those professional leave requests? All right, hearing none. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much. Moving on to our Director of Special Education, Becky Grimallo.
My only item tonight is just to update the board on our Special Olympics Unified Game Day. I saw a couple of you there, I believe. We held this last Thursday. We did have to cut our day a little bit short due to some really scary storms that rolled in, but we were able to finish all of our activities. So we had about 150 students participate this year. That breakdown was about 90 students with disabilities and 60 peer models that were there, and those were students ranging from kindergarten through 8th grade. We awarded over 600 ribbons to our athletes. We had actually had a reporter there from the Post-Tribune and had a really nice story in the paper. If you haven't seen that, I can email it out, but she was able to get some comments from the parents, and it was nice to hear that the parents see this as a valuable event as well. And some great pictures of our students in there too. And I just wanted to thank, this is really an event that does take our entire village here at Lake Central to make it work. So we had some wonderful high school students who were out there volunteering and working with our kids, and that was coordinated by Jeff Sandor and Chris Enyart in the athletic department. Bonnie Groover, who is our adaptive PE teacher, and Allison Mazurkowitz really do a lot of the logistics as far as our student permission slips and planning the day, transportation, the number of buses we have to get all the kids here, and Christian helps make that happen. So it's really, and all of our principals were out there for our participating schools, and our teachers who do so much to make sure everybody has a lunch and everybody stays where they're supposed to be that day. So it really is a great day for us and a great day for our students and families. So we will be continuing this, and we're already making plans for next year. So
That's great to hear. Yeah, it was unfortunately made it there at the end. and
I thought I saw you as
Yeah.
we were running inside.
Yeah. I think I saw one race, maybe two,
Yeah.
and then everybody just headed for indoors.
Yeah,
Because it was moving in fast, so.
Yes,
But
it
no,
was.
it's a great event. I love going to
Yep.
that and seeing that every year.
And I know Dr. Veraco, last year you held the torch, but Terry, you did really good, Miss
It was a
Mucha.
big honor.
Yeah.
Did you have a torch?
She did have the torch, yes.
I have the torch.
Yes.
I might keep that for next year, Dr.
It did take a while for us to get her to let go of the torch. She liked it.
That was one of the best days I've had this year.
That's good. That's
Yeah,
great.
you were out
That's
there
awesome.
cheering them. So I have a question. I had to leave before the students ate. I think I was leaving right when you were ready to call for lunch. So
Yes.
how did you feed them? Did they go up to the concession stand? and-
No, all the students brought their lunch.
Okay, because we were talking about that. and
No.
I kept thinking, how would you organize that?
No.
Okay.
Everybody brought a lunch from home this year.
Okay.
And if anyone had difficulty with that, we made arrangements for the
Okay.
cafeteria.
Okay, very
And I
good.
did want to say that Mrs. Castaneda and Mrs. Schoen also helped me with that torch as we went around the track. So thank you very much.
That's good to hear. Great. Well, thank you, Becky. Moving on to our Director of Business Services, Rob James.
Thank you, Don. The first item on my agenda is to seek the board's approval for our semi-annual application to the state for the Common School Technology Loan. We do this every 6 months when the state puts this out, and we use this money to replace desktop computers, smart boards, Chromebooks, all instructionally focused items in the classroom. So we apply for the maximum amount each time, and for this 6-month period, we can apply for $940,000. So seek your approval to apply for that loan.
It's very nice. So moved.
We have a motion from Dr. Malkow.
Second?
We have a second from Mr. Marshall. Any comments or questions regarding that Common School Fund loan?
No, it's a great opportunity we have, and I'm glad we take advantage of it.
Yeah.
Of course, and I always say, just don't forget, we have to have the appropriate training to know how to use this equipment, so,
The technology, yeah.
yeah.
All right, let's take a vote on it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. And then my second item is just to seek your approval on the donations that were presented in your board packet.
Move to approve.
We have a motion from Ms. Suze, and I will second that motion. Any comments or questions regarding the donations? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Well, thank you very much. I want to go back now to the Liaison Committee updates. And if anybody, I think I'll start with Mr. Marshall. If you have any updates, that would be great if we could hear those now.
Appreciate it. The only update I have is our last joint Westlake meeting with Munster, School Town of Munster, will occur Wednesday of this week. That's the last official joint meeting. It will be at the School Town of Munster at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's the only thing I have.
Well, thank you.
Dan.
Thank you, Mr. Marshall. Dr. Malcolm, do you have anything?
Yes, we had an Education Foundation meeting, actually last Monday, when you were at the region meeting, other board members, and we're looking forward to hopefully doing some fundraisers this summer to earn more money, and just planning how to reach out to our community so that they understand what we're all about and hopefully get some donations from them. And then the legislative, I see that we have Mr. Chris Chung here representing our area, so welcome. Yeah. And as far as the legislative, the journey continues. The journey continues. I felt it was a good year. I think Dr. Vracko thought that same thing, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. But we appreciate all the efforts that our representatives are doing to move things forward. And appreciate everything all of our teachers and administrators are doing to move the need forward. I did have one slight concern. I noticed that when I compared my property tax from White County, where it says school, and I compared it to Lake County's property tax, Lake County says school district, implying one district. And it's not just one district. The money comes to the school, and then we have to share it with others. So I thought that was an interesting little twist.
I'm not sure what you're talking about, to be honest.
If you look at your tax bill, and it breaks it down, it's got library on there, it's got school, and if you look at the way that's identified on other counties, Jasper County, White County, it's identified as school, period. On Lake counties, it's identified as going to the school district, and to me that meant singular. School district, that meant singular. Whereas on the others, it was school, it was more generic, more like.
Well, Janice, how many school districts are in White County?
Well, but my point would be that within that money, some of that money goes out to private schools and charter schools, so it all doesn't stay with us. It comes to us, but it doesn't stay with us.
That's completely wrong.
Okay, so.
We get the money comes right to us, we don't disperse it to anybody. Your property taxes only come to our school district, it doesn't go to, it doesn't go anywhere else. So what one county puts on their tax bill is irrelevant.
So how do the private school or the charter schools, how do they get their money then?
Straight from the state, it's not supported by
Okay.
property taxes.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Straight from the state then.
Yeah, thank you.
Part
Yeah.
of the tuition bill that we talk about, that we work with legislators about putting that money in the budget. So it comes straight from the state into the budget. You're talking about your taxes that people pay, which has nothing to do with the state.
Okay, so that's interesting, because I was told differently on that. So thank you for the clarification, Mr. James.
Thank you. All right.
So erase all of that.
Anything else?
No.
Okay.
No.
Anything, Ms. Suze, for Liaison?
I do. Dollars for Scholars. On April 28th, we gave away $90,000 to 124 graduating seniors. So they just need to finish the application process, and Ms. Resnick will be writing all those checks to all those schools. And we'll be gearing up for our homecoming meeting in June. I'll email you all.
Okay, great to hear. And then I was able to attend the Dyer Parks Department meeting the other evening. One of the things that I wanted to bring up that came out of that, when this has been planned for a while, is the Dyer Fest. It's coming up June 5th through the 9th. The first night is like movie in the park, where they put the big inflatable screen in the park and show movies there. Then on the 9th, the last day of the Dyer Fest, there's going to be fireworks in the evening, so it's always a good time. You know, come out and support your community at that Dyer Fest, and or whatever fest you have within your town. And I didn't have anything for Dyer Redevelopment Committee. Moving on to our public comments, I don't believe we have any this evening. So I'll move on to board comments and consideration of future agenda items, and I'll start with Mr. Marshall.
Appreciate it, Mr. President. Many times, events occur outside of the Lake Central corporate district, but they still have a major impact on us. I made some notes on an issue. If you bear with me just here for a moment, I'd like to read from this so I keep my mind together. Due to the current reporting of charges by an assistant baseball coach of an opposing team's fans allegedly directing racial taunts at him during competition in a Porter County tournament game, I am inviting my fellow board members to join with me in support of a statement denouncing such unacceptable behavior. We at Lake Central cannot and will not condone this kind of fan interaction. There is no place in our society for these kinds of mocking taunts. Diversity is an integral piece of our society, and sport competition is between the teams on the field or the court and should be left there. It is also reported that at least 2 schools in Porter County, through their superintendents, have stated similar views. I would like to go on record that we also fully support this action and express our feelings as such. Thank you. I just have been made aware of recent notices to this effect. I think it's so important that we re-emphasize our position on this from a fandom standpoint. We can't allow this to happen, and I'm not suggesting Lake Central has a problem with that, but you never know, and it doesn't hurt to restate it. Thank you again.
All right, thank you, Mr. Marshall. Dr. Malco?
You know, and I apologize, Dr. Rocco, I should have asked you this during your section of the board meeting, but and everybody, I know you understand that I'm just I really embrace the importance of policies and procedures. So with the Neola, we're not going to be Neola anymore. Am I right on that? Did I understand that correctly?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, I thought your little sticky note said that we were going to switch to Board Docs, the Board Docs platform.
Well, Neola has been promising me for several weeks to update their system, and I could get into the details of how complicated it is to work off 2 different programs in order to update a board policy through the VPN system, but they have developed and are supposed to be getting us hooked up so we can essentially, if you've ever redlined a Word document, do something like that so you as board members would be able to see the changes made on one document instead of having to compare 2 documents and say, okay, which part's been changed, which part's missing, what did you exclude? And so that's been the holdup on updating board policy.
Okay. Is that the same Board Docs that ISBA sent the information out about?
ISBA is trying to, well, I can only speculate that the Neola update is on account of competition in the field, that people were frustrated with the complicated manner in which you have to update the Neola policies.
Okay.
But before we would switch to Board Docs, I'd like to give Neola a chance and see what it looks like, and I expect to have it any time.
Okay. All right, very good. Thank you for that clarification. And are we going to be doing work ethic certificates again this year? Do you know?
I believe we received them back in April. I was at the Ready meeting when Mr. Bagley received a folder of work ethic certificates.
So it has been submitted, so it's forthcoming. Thank you. Okay, well, thank you. I think that's really important. It's a nice program, and I know that we're way out ahead of the others, so I can keep that encouraged, positive. Thank you, that's all.
All right, thank you, Dr. Malco. Ms. Suze?
Mrs. Gramella, great job on the Unified Track Meet again. Thank you, Ms. Schoen and Ms. Castaneda for supporting Ms. Mucho. And just good luck to all the kids taking their finals this week, and congratulations to our 2019 graduating seniors.
Yep.
That's it.
That's coming up. That's coming up. That's what I was going to mention. Commencement's June 2nd. So one of my favorite times of the year is commencement, and that is fast approaching again. The class of 2019 will be walking before us soon. So be ready. There's a lot of handshakes going on there. All right. Moving on to our board calendar of future activities. Dr. Vreckman.
Why don't you just keep going? You're doing all right with the graduation piece. Calendar.
Oh, the calendar?
Okay.
Jean Nowacki's not here, but we'd like to wish her a happy birthday.
Oh, yes. I'm sorry about that. Jeannie, if you're watching, happy birthday. Sorry about that.
So we have our end of year state tournaments. We are actually hosting softball starting tomorrow. Girls track regional tomorrow, boys track regional Thursday. Boys baseball sectional starts Wednesday at Munster, right after the managing board meeting, Mr. Marshall. Graduation is 13 days away, and our next board meeting is the day after graduation, and we should, I guess, blame Mr. Baxo for scheduling that meeting. So, no, it wasn't his fault, but we will be back here 2 weeks from tonight.
Our hands will be sore that next day. All right. I need a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjournment.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.